meeting with the president, Jared Kushner, and the White House counsel, and she was advocating for Kwame Kilpatrick. So in the midst of January 6th and people asking for Trump to resign and all of the stuff going on and investigations, my name was being discussed in the Oval Office, and Donald Trump said that day, "I'm gonna help your guy." It's famous. Jared Kushner
Dang,
and
that's
Alice told me,
crazy.
"Yeah, okay, Alice, I'm gonna help your guy." And January 13th at 8:41 in the morning, he signed my commutation.
That's insane.
Yep.
That is crazy. And it's funny because it seems as though the sentiment, especially somebody like me that kind of pays attention to how people evolve, there's a lot of black people specifically and black men that has completely turned away from how they may have voted this last election versus how they seeing things and becoming really fervent supporters of Trump. Do you think that there's an agenda in a general sense to kind of tarnish his reputation with all of these lawsuits and civil suits and everything that's going on and prosecution or whatever like that? Do you think that there's an agenda to try to remove him because it's a possibility that he just got this juggernaut that's just unstoppable? Even when it comes to, let me add this context in there, even when it comes to the Republican debates, right?
Yes.
I kind of paid attention to the first one, but I just don't even see any of those people even remotely being on the radar. And his approval rating or these current polls, they saying that in every swing state he's beaten Biden at this point.
Yes.
Do you think that he'll become president again? Do you think that the people will vote him in? And then B, do you think that there's an agenda to try to tarnish his reputation based off of all of these different suits that's going about?
I think America should know, and particularly our community, that every time the FBI is involved, it's an agenda. This whole idea of a law and order, and it's just to make people safe or to root out corruption. It's a lie from the very pit of hell. There was an agenda in this city.
Yeah.
For me, there was an agenda.
Yeah.
People still don't know what my case is about. He stole money, and I don't have one stealing money thing. He embezzled, don't have embezzlement. Misused the public funds, don't have one misuse of the public funds charge. They don't know what my case is about. They put a recall on it and locked me up, and everybody was cool with it. I need people to understand, and I'm cool. I'm not trying to listen. There's no way that a former sitting president, white man, rich white man, is going through what he's going through without an agenda. Whether he gave some space for it to happen or not, with his words, his position, and posture, you can see the overkill and the over prosecution, selectivity of the prosecution involved. You can see prosecutors who are literally out there politically trying to make a career out of these particular cases, whether they're civil or criminal, whether they're federal or state. And it has nothing to do with Donald Trump. This is my problem before I even answer that question. People are okay with the criminal justice system as long as they're prosecuting somebody you don't like.
Yep, I agree.
It's unfair when it's Mookie and them and my man on Dexter and how they did dude on 7 Mile, or how they did Kwame, or how they did, because I like Kwame. But those same people, you ask some people out in other communities and other households, they'll say it's so good. He's a corrupt, horrible. He should still be locked up. They should have threw away the key. He should be in there for life. Why? They don't need any facts. They don't need, because our justice system outside of the courts is the same way it is inside of the courts. And so a jury sits there, or a judge sits there who's a human being in the community who understands the agenda, and they make decisions based on an agenda or their feelings or their motives or their issues with the person. My judge came in the courtroom similar to Trump's judge and said, "We need to get this started. No more delays. Detroit needs closure." and my attorney said, Your Honor, with all due respect, Detroit's not a defendant here.
Yeah.
Detroit needs closure. So it was just a whole mission now. Let's hurry up and get this through. Yes, I believe there's an agenda with Donald Trump, and it doesn't have anything to do with my affinity for Donald Trump. And it doesn't have anything to do necessarily with my conviction. There's been an agenda from the FBI since COINTELPRO. See, I mean, since all the different things that we see in our community with guys with 3 nickel bags of crack getting 30, 40 years in life, conspiracies, 2K1s, ghost drugs. I don't understand how we, on one side, understand the unfairness of the system, at the corruption of the system and the maliciousness of the system, unless it's somebody we don't like. And we're falling into the same trap that we're calling most people who hate urban America.
Yeah, it's hypocritical.
Is hypocritical. We're falling into the same trap. If we believe in fairness, if we believe in balance, we need to believe it even if it's Ku Klux Klansmen. Up on
you still got to,
we should still believe that the justice system should work fairly.
So considering that we're more connected than we ever have with social media and all of this stuff, right? Is it even possible for him to get a fair trial, despite the fact that it may be an agenda attached to it? Because the court of public opinion, and it's impossible to remove somebody from being impartial, considering that we are all interconnected and they may have a bias one way or another for him. Is it possible for him to even be able to have fair trials in these circumstances or situations, considering that he's one of the most famous people on the planet Earth?
It's absolutely impossible. And that unfairness might work in his advantage.
Yeah.
One of the things that Donald Trump has is an army of people who feel very strongly about him.
He does. He really does.
In my neighborhood in Georgia, when you turn the corner to go into the community that we live in, it's Trump signs all the way down the street. They've been there since I got home in 21. They ain't left the porch. And if you have a conversation at the Walmart, which is at the other corner, they love Trump. Trump shirts. They got a Trump section. They got a little thing where you can get Trump stuff today, right now, and it's selling. And so his people are with him no matter what. And him continuing to talk and continuing to go out and do these large, you're talking about thousands of people coming to see him right now. He's 30 points ahead of every other Republican challenger. He's beating Biden all over. So all he's thinking about is one person on that jury is going to be a Trumper. And so it's unfair. The Trumper don't want to hear no information. The Trumper thinks it's unfair, it's biased. I don't care what y'all say. I don't believe you. And that person could also unfairly judge and be able to get him free. And so there's no way he gets fairness either way. This is not going to be a fair trial. The judge is not going to be unbiased. We can see in New York with the civil trial, that judge is completely biased.
I can see it.
Everybody can see that. I mean, he's in a liberal place, a liberal community, a community that really don't like him. They haven't been liking him for a long time before he was president. And so I don't see how in America we even can think, whether you hate Donald Trump or love Donald Trump, that he could receive fairness in a trial where nobody is biased.